Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for FCI's Because We Exist series. This is our first time ever doing this series, and it was actually created at the request of food co-ops, startups, and long-established ones like yours. So thank you so much for the idea, and thank you so much for being part of our first series, and to South Philly Food Co-op for being one of our guinea pigs for this first ever series to tell their story and talk to us about how their co-op has touched and transformed their community. So I want to thank for being here with us tonight, the South Philly team, and I'd love to have ask Lori and Ash introduce yourselves and your role with your co-op.
Hi, great. I'm Lori Birch Scott. I'm South Philly Food Co-op's general manager, and I started about a year and a half before we opened the store.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Ash, Marketing and Outreach Manager. I've been at this co-op for 3 years. I actually started in the produce team and moved into marketing and outreach just because I love this co-op so much and I just want to see it succeed and I care about this community.
Awesome. Thank you guys both for being here. And we just happened to find a very seasonal photo. Is this your staff team? Is this all staff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. And so, just to give everyone a little background on South Philly. So, of course, their name kind of gives it away. They are located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, of course, in a city with a population just in the city itself of about 1.6 million and 6 million in the entire metro. And of course, we talk about this a lot as food co-ops. Like, are you serving a college town? Are you in a major metro? Are you in a suburb? Are you in a very rural community? And how that affects things. And you guys are the first we've worked with in this series who are in a major metro. And of course, you probably do have customers from all over the city, but you're in a specific neighborhood and serving probably more densely a certain area of the community. Can you share a little bit about that with us? What part of the city are you in, and who's coming to South Philly?
Absolutely. So we are in the heart of South Philly. It's a very densely populated urban area. We are on the ground floor of an apartment building. So that just kind of shows, how busy it is in our neighborhood. We're very close to the Broad Street line, which is the major subway interconnection for our neighborhood. And the vast majority of our shoppers get here on foot, on bike, or by public transit, with most of them coming in on foot. So people just love to walk in and come see our store. Some people do drive from other areas of South Philly to come see us, but the vast majority of people are just living right here, nestled in our neighborhood.
Awesome. And I love thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to tell you all, some of you, I know there are definitely people who are with startup food co-ops that are still developing on this call. This is an exception. We see this, everyone's like, oh, all our customers are going to bike and walk. This is true in very dense urban cities with food co-ops that are connected or right next to very utilized public transit. So we see this at the Dill Pickle Food Co-op in Chicago. We see this at South Philly and Philadelphia, PA. We see this at Flatbush Co-op in New York City. We are not, we are not seeing this for those of us who are in college towns, suburbs, rural communities. So we want to believe it. It is not, but if it's not the way we're living day to day, it's not what's actually going to happen for our food co-op. In the case of South Philly, this is how most people do most everything, right? It's public transit, walking,
Absolutely.
biking.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yeah. And in fact, we have no parking lot, which is, something that you hear, is not recommended. So it is, it's definitely doable in our space because of where we're located. That's for sure. And another interesting thing about our co-op is that we are on a side street. So I'm just continue to be very impressed by our community for coming down to find us. Folks come from all areas adjacent to our store, but we are on a one lane side street.
wow, I
And
did not
like
know
I said,
that.
we don't have parking. So they find us though. We have that sign that you can see. And we're located across the street from a high school, which we have a nice relationship with as well.
Nice.
And it's a very diverse community. So we have people from all racial and ethnic backgrounds, economic backgrounds, very diverse economically in our neighborhood. So we have customers that use SNAP, and then we have people that have, a high budget for their groceries. So it's interesting to see
A big
such
blend
a
of
cool
different people.
blend of people coming together to support our co-op.
I like to think that South Philly is like a little hidden gem in our neighborhood. Um, at least every day I hear at least one person go like, I've never seen this place before, who's like a whole new customer who falls in love with our store. It's a great experience.
And I will say though, guys, we're going to find out about the size of the store and their sales. Even if people are still discovering it, they're definitely discovering it enough. So but we'll get there in a moment. Um, Real quick, they started organizing. We started calling it organizing when incorporation happened. So they incorporated when they started organizing. Said we kind of pulled together. Like we're certain we're going to try and do this thing. Let's get legally incorporated in 2011. And then they opened in 2020, and I think it was like the end of anyway, it was close. It was closer to 10 years than 11 when I looked at the months, so I called it 10 years of organizing, which these days is pretty typical. That became pretty typical, definitely after COVID for sure. We went from but even before COVID, we went from 5 to 7 years being average to kind of starting to move toward like 6 to 8. And South Philly, it took 10. And so that was a little on the outside, a little unexpected. And anything you want to share about what the challenges were that made it take a little longer?
Yeah, very much. Well, first of all, we had a very strong board and a very strong base of community commitment to our co-op, throughout the duration of our founding. But one of the biggest things that was a big delay as we got closer and closer to opening is that things were changing in the economy. And so we saw the tariffs and economic changes in the cost of construction that came in as we were approaching time to begin construction, and we saw our costs increase. That caused us to have to go through a round of recapitalization, which was very stressful. And then, believe it or not, we had to go through that process all over again because of the pandemic. So first, we got that first wave of cost increase related to economic changes, which caused us a delay in 2019 and early 2020, where we had to basically rebudget and cut costs on aspects of our construction plan, take things out, find ways to save money, and then meet it from the other end, recapitalizing to meet in the middle. And then we had to go through that all over again with the pandemic, because we were supposed to be opening in the spring summer of 2020, and then the pandemic hit in the middle of construction and stopped our construction completely because we had a work order stoppage. Like, folks were not supposed to be working close together, so that stopped our construction process again for a second time. During that period of time, of course, we had to do more fundraising, and I had already hired staff, so that was a little bit stressful. Not all of our staff, but some. We didn't want to have to lay anybody off. We did get the PPP funding, the EIDL funding, that sort of thing, to help us to augment that, raise additional capital from our members. And then we did this thing called Basics Box and had like a little, bi-weekly pickup spot so we could deliver on our commitment to bringing groceries to South Philly, which was like a little foyer, almost like a food buying club, but not exactly. And then we made it all happen in December 2020. And in fact, we're about to celebrate our 5-year anniversary, which is very exciting. We opened on December 23rd, right before Christmas. So that was fun.
I remember that. I have to tell you guys. I mean, can you imagine? They opened December 23rd, 2020. It was quite the amazing. When I saw that come across my social media, I'm like, they are not. I'm like, oh my God, out there in the snow, and doing the thing. And so, their story is really impacted by 2020. I think we actually have, I will link it for those who attended. I think we have another video actually with Lori talking more in depth about that. So we'll circle back to that. I want to talk real quick. Technically, by our new definitions, we usually talk about a startup food co-op, and then you become an established food co-op once you've basically finished the startup process. And it used to be the minute you opened your doors, you're an established food co-op. And we realized that's inaccurate. And I was actually mostly, want to give a big nod to Michelle Schrei of the National Co-op Groceries, who really brought this forward and said, look, it used to be, we thought, oh, they'll open the doors and then, that's the thing. They have an experienced GM like Lori, they got lucky, and it's just all gonna do the thing. And we now know that the vast majority of the time, there's recalibration that has to happen to make sure that we're actually financially stable as we execute the store we promised, and that we're also executing the vision that people expected, and that the community is embracing it, and that it's connecting to the community. And some co-ops have to do a little recalibration, some have to do a lot. But it's now we consider it no less than 18 months at least after open to really know if you've met what you promised to deliver and are seeing economic sustainability for the long term. And some co-ops end up in this stage, getting to that economic sustainability and delivery of the values and really filling a role in the community for 8 or more years. In the case of we were just, and this is a new concept. This wasn't around when South Philly was organizing. So I was just discussing it with Lori last week. And you said you kind of felt like you guys reached that. We're fulfilling the mission and we have an economic pathway, a financial pathway that we're hitting. We know where we're going. We feel established in that sense around 2024.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, the first couple years were, just to be honest, were hard. And even though we had great people and a committed base of membership, there were things that we needed to do to enhance what we were doing, improve and hone our business operations, and live our mission, more fully. So some of those things were price perception, the product prices in our store. We had EDLP, everyday low price program, but it wasn't quite hitting the mark, for example. When we joined NCG, of course, that made a huge difference for us because we were able to participate in the co-op basics program and the co-op deals program. So even though we had our own kind of developed programs for sales and for everyday low prices, they weren't as good, and we didn't have as good of a system or a routine around those things as we were able to. So part of that development was joining NCG, and then part of it was being able to adopt as many of those programs as possible and to hit our financial viability point. So not only we always saw the sales growth that we needed to see, but the challenges for us was the margin, hitting our margin targets, keeping our cost of goods where they need to be, but hitting our gross profit margin while also offering products at a price that our customers felt were accessible. And also our ability to do more community events and connect more with our community. So I think one of the hallmarks of the change that we had to become a more mature co-op was that we were able to hire a marketing manager, for example, to help us to better connect with our community in a more routine basis, because before it was like a super part-time role. And then we started doing more really cool things, which we'll talk about a little bit later today.
Awesome. And I just want to, again, I hope I tell people we could do 3 sessions like this and still have not enough time to hear all the things I know there are people who want to hear right now from South Philly. But I do want to touch real quick for those of us who are the store geeks. This total store size is pretty small. It's 3,300 square feet total and 2,300 retail. So that is a smaller store. And that is but it is the normal ratio. The retail space is usually about 2/3 of the total square footage. And the product mix is primarily natural foods, but not entirely. And there is a little bit of house-made sandwiches and prepared foods, but not a major deli. And the annual sales have, I mean, we're talking about celebrating 5 years, and we've almost quadrupled our sales in this little tiny footprint of a store. So clearly, like you said, the sales were always there, and sometimes that's the experience. The sales are there, but maybe the ability to get the margins you need and other financial factors are behind the scenes need a lot of work to get to stability. But you guys look like you were embraced by the community right away and have gone from employing 12 people to 27 people, and that's really phenomenal. Was the sales right from the start where you guys expected them to be?
Well, we vastly exceeded our pro forma projections, our market study projections for sales. So right out the gate, we were already above that. And every year we were trending a couple years ahead of our projections, especially by year 3, year 4, and now this year we've been trending ahead. So
and that's an extreme rarity. I just want to point out to the audience at home, like that's almost unheard of. Usually people are hitting or not or are under their discounted sales projections. So South Philly is an extreme outlier in that. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, we're like year 10 of our pro forma projections, and it's year 5. So it's
That
pretty
is
awesome.
amazing. Congratulations, guys. We're going to transition into, I mean, why we're really here. I wanted you to understand who South Philly is. I wanted the startups to get a chance to learn from their story, but we really are here tonight to talk about how does this little co-op, this startup, how has it changed its community? How does it show up as a values-based organization, and what has it done that has really touched and made their community a place that it wouldn't be without the food co-op? And that always starts with ends. And again, for those of us who are startup folks, you might not have heard this term yet. It's usually used in established or mature co-ops. You might have heard our core values or mission, same kind of concept. And we have it on the screen here. I'm going to read a little bit real quick for those of us who have a hard time reading the screen. Their mission is using food as a force for good at our tables in the community and for their planet. And our neighbors are all at all income levels and have access to high quality, healthy food. People have access to honest information about the food available at the co-op. And I'm not going to maybe read every word. I'm going to give you the gist. Our employees are empowered, engaged, and well compensated and representative of our community. They also have ends around how they show up in their community. That their neighborhood profits from a robust, sustainable economic system or engine, I mean, which is the co-op. That the cooperative is a vibrant community hub where everyone's welcome, and the community is committed to social and economic justice and preserving and nurturing cultural heritage of the neighborhood and of their neighbors, and has active collaborative relationships as the cooperative with the businesses around them as well as the cooperative ecosystem. So they're a little longer than usually I used to sing, but they also have ends around their planet, and you see these here on the screen. If anyone, we do have some text on these slides. If anyone at home is not able to read them and would like access to these slides, please just either email me or drop that in the chat and I will get these slides over to you. But we're going to dive a little more. So we've got these three focus areas. We've got the ends at your tables, in your community, and for your planet. And these are a little bigger than I'm used to seeing. Anything you guys want to share about how you guys came to these?
So we started out with our mission of using food as a source for good, and then we expanded upon that. It was a board, staff, and community project to get input from our members about what they wanted our impact or our difference to be. Our board met, and I was involved in the process of honing the ends. And it was a very iterative process. We started the ends before we opened the store, and we had different committees that were involved, committees of our board that helped give feedback about the ends before our board of directors adopted them. And then we just actually recently reviewed our ends, and we still feel great and confident in our ends. And so we just decided to continue moving on with them as they are. And we really do work hard to live and advance our ends in all the ways that we're able to for where we're at, like in our development. So, what that means now versus what that'll mean in 5 years will be a little bit different, just as it is where we were at 5 years ago. But we do work hard to live those values in everything we do.
Which is a beautiful segue. Thank you, Lori, to the next slide, because we're going to talk a little bit more. And Ash has really set up some beautiful slides for us about just pieces of how they live into their ends. So how they manifest that change they want to be in their community through the work they do in different areas of the co-op every day. And so I asked them to pick some areas they'd like to highlight and tell us about how they actually deliver this as a grocery store. And we're going to start here with ensuring our neighbors at all income levels have access to high quality, healthful food. And you guys like to share with us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so this has been a big focus for us. And when this is a really current example, is a recent pain point that we had around the SNAP crisis, where food stamps were shut down and people did not have access to their funds for purchasing their groceries. And so one thing that I think about us is that we really do leap to action to try to find ways to adapt to what's going on in the world and the experiences that our neighbors are having. And so as we heard that crisis was coming down, we moved to action to help feed our community. So what we did was we launched something called the SNAP Relief Box. We posted fundraising, we did crowdfunding online. We brought in over 400 donations from our community members to fund these boxes, which had a lot of staple food items. In the pictures, you'll probably notice the Field Day logo. We were able to use our our contract that we have with UNFI to get really great prices, because there was a big promo on Field Day during November. And so we were able to buy a lot of food with the donations that our community members put in. The average donation was $30. We raised $11,000 in total, and we donated $15,000 in groceries to our community members. We funded the difference. So we covered the labor and the overhead costs of making that happen. And basically what we did was every single time a UNFI delivery came in, we get 3 a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We added on a big order of staple food items, and we hustled to sort them onto these U-boats, and then we worked to get them out to our community partners, of which we have many. So we were able to, get that food out really quickly.
And Ash, I wonder, as a marketing person, did you find like you guys came up with this phenomenal idea? Were these neighborhood organizations that you guys are always working to be in relationship with, were they already reaching out to you and knowing like you guys are going to be here
We
for us
reached out
and be a
to
partner?
them. In a lot
Okay.
of cases, they were people who we've worked with in the past, or other like neighborhood organizations. We've donated to our local high school, that's like our neighbor next door.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there were lots
Our
of different ways
our
you guys were
social
getting
media
those
was
out.
super buzzing with like people like DMing us asking like, where can I get food? Where can I get food? And
Mhm.
we made a bunch of like flyers and posters for in-store, helping people get these resources that we were putting out there.
I love that. And this is a consistent story I'm hearing because of the timing of this series. This is the third in our series this time, and everyone has talked about this. And what has been beautiful for me to hear is not just that we've done these great things. As a cooperator, I know we would do this, right? Like I knew this was coming right away. But that what I think maybe surprised me just a little in a wonderful way is how you were all like, yeah, no, our emails, our phone, our texts, everything were blowing up. People knew the co-op was going to be helping in some way. And so they knew we would have information, resources, and if they wanted to help, that we would be going to be helping them plug in to help. And I just think that's amazing and speaks to how you've become the center of a community.
If I may, it was a beautiful experience to be a part of, to see so many people wanting to help, wanting to volunteer, wanting to donate, just across like our communities. It was very uplifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And a testament to the relationships you guys have built, which I mean, no one else was, I bet you anything, no one was calling the chain grocery store, so but they were
Yeah.
calling you. So, and that leads us to, again, there's more, you guys, this isn't the only thing you guys have done by far, and that's how that trust was built around ensuring that that access at all income levels. Tell us a little bit about what we have here.
Absolutely. So, in other ways that we work on an ongoing basis to increase our community's access to healthy foods, we have the Co-op Basics program, and we, of course, have the Co-op Deals program. We have a Food Bucks Snap Match program. So, when people buy fresh produce, they get points. When they buy fresh produce with SNAP or food stamps, they get points good for
40
a
cents on the
future,
dollar.
40 cents on the dollar for fresh produce. And we currently have 360 participants in that program, which is really awesome. So we've been really growing that base, and then that program also dovetails into a few other programs. First of all, we accept farmers market and food bucks RX programs. So those are a similar program that we work on with the Food Trust, one of our community partners, where farmers markets get the coupons when they shut down for the season. The Food Trust refers people to us so they can use those farmers market coupons in our store for fresh produce, and they also refer doctors to give out these referral slips to their customers or their patrons so they can come to us and get free produce as well. So it's really encouraging healthy eating in our whole community. And that's a great way that we're able to make connections to people who want to eat healthier, have access to healthier food, but maybe didn't know about us. And then we do frequent food drives. So like that food drive was just one. Like we do them multiple times a year. We're always doing food drives. So we're going to get ready to do another one right now.
Yeah.
We also have a community equity fund scholarship because we don't just believe that food should be accessible. We want our co-op to be accessible to our community. We want our community to have a voice and feel like they have ownership of the co-op. And so we don't want money to be a barrier. So we also crowdsourced funding to pay for scholarship memberships for our community. So we currently have 85 households that are funded, and we have 265 additional positions available through these subsidized memberships. So folks can join the co-op with a $25 investment, and we'll vest the remaining $275. Our membership is $300 equity.
Excellent. That's amazing. And what I love about these programs, a lot of food co-ops have them, and that it's done in it's done in a way that's like fully respectful, right? Like whether people, we've all, whether you can't tell by looking at someone, how each of us is doing economically at some given point in our lives, and we treat each other, I think, at co-ops around these programs like neighbors, not like people were like, oh, this isn't charity. This is we're
Right.
helping our neighbors, and
Yeah.
it's done in a way that is respectful and not with a million questions. And I think, I don't know if you guys seen that and gotten feedback on that the process just feels really like easy and respectful and that people are relieved by that.
Absolutely. Yeah. People don't ever feel hindered, to participate in any of these programs because we just welcome and invite them to participate. We let them know that this is an opportunity for them. And, we don't ask, like you said, we don't ask a lot of questions. They just have to tell us what
Just let them know the programs
what they want to do, that they want to participate. Yeah.
Right? Like and if you've ever, I mean, and I have utilized programs like this at points in your life, you're used to like being asked to provide, three forms of proof and all this stuff. And that is very much not how these programs work. These are a form of organized community solidarity. Awesome. And then here, something I think is really interesting, you guys decided to focus on your produce sales and the availability of Instacart. And I'm going to have to eat crow here, which is phrase meaning I'm going to have to admit that I was wrong, because I just said in the last session that most food co-ops, a lot of food co-ops have tried delivery and really found it, like ended up starting it and ending it because it was just the barriers were too high and there wasn't enough demand. And it looks like that might not be true for you all. So can we hear about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we sell a lot of fresh produce in our store. But access to food, there's additional barriers to access. Money is not the only one. Being able to get into the store, and we do serve, we want to serve our whole community. So we don't want transportation to be a barrier, or if somebody's not able to like get in and out of our store with groceries. So that during the pandemic, we actually had a bicycle delivery program, and unfortunately that shut down. And ever since then, people had been talking about, can you bring back the delivery service? Can you do bicycle delivery? Well, that was not feasible for us to do bicycle delivery, but the Instacart partnership was possible for us. So we figured it out, and it's working. It's working for us. We're getting quite a few buyers that are going online every single day. We have customers every day on Instacart, which is really awesome. People coming in, people really appreciate being able to get groceries from us, and to not have to choose the big box stores because, if they're buying online in our neighborhood, the other options are big box stores. So it's really nice to be able to offer a local option. And we work really hard to offer as many products as possible on the platform so that they get a full array of products and not just like
the whole store experience.
Yeah, they really can get the whole store experience on our Instacart platform, which is really great. And then we also launched our Provisions Wholesale division, which is it's a magical online special order program that we launched. Orcas Food Co-op helped us get it started. They were the ones that founded it. And that's just been fantastic because we had kind of a relatively non-existent special order program prior to that. We had one, but people didn't use it. They didn't know how to use it. and it was hard to use. It was time consuming. So we're able to kind of get those sales, get people to participate, buy more from the co-op than from other places,
And
which
I
helps
apologize. I'm
keep
going to
our co-op
pause.
strong.
I'm going to ask you guys if you can explain this one because I've barely heard about it. So I know a lot of startups are like, I'm going to have so many emails tomorrow. What is the Provisions Wholesale? How does that work? What is that?
Yes. Well, yeah, you can go. Well, so go to South Philly .provisions.coop. Not right now, but later. Just put that down in your
Write that
notes.
down.
And you can go on our website if you can't remember, and you'll find there's a link right on our website, southphillyfood.coop. Anyway, Provisions Wholesale is an online special order program. So we load
Member
up.
exclusive.
It is member exclusive, absolutely. So it's a member benefit, which is great. And then they get volume based pricing for buying online. It's mostly case quantities.
Okay,
But the cool thing is that there are a lot of items that we can order from our main supplier, UNFI, that are a single item or 3-pack items like HABA and supplements, bath and body products, spices, stuff like that people might want, because we're a super small store, as you mentioned. We're 2,300 square feet. So, we have 3-4 foot sections dedicated to the wellness department. But, of course, people are very specific into what they need for wellness items. So they can go online and they can order it, and then it'll come in the next couple days later and pick it up.
I like to encourage people to use it instead of shopping Amazon if they're trying to avoid using big box stores. They want to support local. Use Provisions. It's great.
Yeah, so I want to make sure the startups heard this because this is something really new and exciting. And most startup food co-ops are going to open in what we call the small to medium sales volume range, right? And so this is a program that allows you, a lot of people say, oh, there's case discounts, right? Like one of the owner benefits is case discounts. This is case discounts plus, in that you can allow your owners to place those orders online without even leaving their home, find out if you can get something for them, and then make sure that they're ordering it through the co-op. They get a special discount and they put that volume through your store. Nobody brought this up yet, so I'm just really excited to ask you guys to lean in for a second.
It's really super cool. And it's not, instead of all the back and forth and the waiting game that happens in the paper special order program, it's like they get that information right away and they can go on and place an order. So it's really great. And we also do partner with businesses and nonprofits and community groups to give them even deeper discounts, like wholesale pricing as well. And that's something that we're working to continuously just grow that program and make folks aware of it.
My home co-op, I'm not going to name names right now, but I need you to do this, okay? I want this. I want this owner benefit. Let's lean into this active collaborative relationships to achieve common goals. I think this is a place that South Philly, I mean, you're kind of known nationally, I feel, as a food co-op, much less as a startup, for how exceptionally you guys do this. And so I'm really excited you guys wanted to focus on this because I'd love to hear more about how you build those collaborative relationships that really make you kind of a beating heart of a neighborhood and a community.
Well, it means a lot to hear. So I grew up in South Philly, and this feels like such a great neighborhood for me. I went to high school around here, and I love connecting with local businesses, local artists, anyone who wants to be a part of the co-op, invite them in. We have a thing called the Shop South Philly program, where we partner with other small local businesses to promote a healthy local economy. Anytime a new shop opens up, or I walk down the street and I see someone, I'm like, hey, do you want to be part of the Shop South Philly program? Do you want to be friends? And basically what that is it's a joint marketing thing where we offer our member owners a small incentive to check out their business, and we will promote them, and we're just friends. And we do that through or blah, 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 blah. What I mean to say is we build on those relationships even more by inviting them to come to our co-op for owner appreciation days and do things like knife sharpening with a local restaurant supply store. In the picture is Lindsay Gill, who is a local yoga instructor who has worked with us multiple times, doing yoga in the park, collaborating with us. Yeah.
you guys just show such active like investment in and the success of and love for your fellow businesses around the neighborhood, and that just comes through loud and clear from way over here in Illinois. And it's because we know that some co-ops have had these programs. I mean, this isn't a new concept. We had them in the 70s, 80s, 90s. We've always had them, but I've seen a lot of food co-ops struggle to keep them I don't know what to call it, really vibrant. The way you guys have kept yours really vibrant, that there's just seems like every time I'm looking at your guys' social media or your website, there's something about a collaboration. And that's a lot of work, especially for a tiny food co-op. Do you find it fits into what you do and actually is ultimately, I think a lot of co-ops feel like we'd love to do that, but we can't invest the time and energy in that. We can't invest the time and energy. Do you see it really paying off for the co-op both as a business and as a cooperative, value-centered business?
Absolutely. I mean, it's part of what makes our co-op great, and it is part of what makes our co-op a hub. I mean, it's essentially what makes our co-op a hub for our community, because we're not just a store. So we have this whole web of connections. The co-op is really the people, right? It's not the store. The co-op is the people. So we're working ways to bring the people together, to support our whole community. And that feels real, in a way that nobody else really can do that, besides a food co-op, to build those natural connections. And so people love it, and it makes our job easier in a way, because when people see that we're doing this, we're vibrating, we're building
it kind of
collaboration.
dominoes, snowballs, like more people want to be involved. I always have people reaching out asking like, hey, how can I get involved in this? Or, oh, I saw you do this with so and so, do you want to do this with us? And like
Nice.
it's very easy once you get started. My ambition is always just have one special thing every month that makes us a little bit more than a grocery store.
Absolutely. And I love this. And I love the illustration that, you don't have to be a huge store to be able to really do this in a really meaningful way. And you guys have just as, and I think that, like you said, you were saying snowballs, Ash, and I was like, yeah, it also, it kind of like, it's like an echo. It comes back to you, right? We
Yeah.
show so much care and concern for the success of those around us in the neighborhood. They have care and concern for the co-op as part of their neighborhood, and it just becomes circular where we see it as we understand the co-op's there to take care of us, not to make money off us. And I just love that. You guys do that so well, and you guys do even more.
Yeah.
So every month we have a different roundup program. Other co-ops do this, of course. And that's a lot of ways that we make a lot of these community relationships that we build is through reaching out to local organizations and groups that we can help support. Yeah.
And it's not just about the fundraising is part of it, but there's another aspect to it, which is amplifying what they're doing.
Yeah, building up the message that they're putting out there, promoting it on like social media and things like that, but also like having them come to our store and like hang out, table, build information, greet the community. We just had the Department of Behavioral Health come out here before Thanksgiving, because I always think like Thanksgiving can be like a lonely time for some people. Right. I want to reach out to the community. I want people to know that there are resources for better help, for care. Concern for community is a very important thing for me.
And like that's beautifully said. And I'm actually going to wiggle in a really good question here because it fits this. There was a question about, so Philadelphia also has another co-op, food co-op in it, Weaver's Way, and has Weaver's Way, and in PACA, which is the Philadelphia Area Cooperative Association. I think I got that right. Had they been, has that been part of your community? Have they been supportive of you as a startup and been partners to you and part of this collective support along the way?
Absolutely. PACA was one of our fiscal sponsors when we were working to open the store. So that was very helpful to have the Philadelphia Area Alliance of Cooperatives help us. Help us get the co-op together, and like they helped us be able to utilize donations to cover a lot of our costs, and have just been a great resource and ally. And all the food co-ops in our whole Delaware Valley community have been very supportive of us, sharing information, sharing resources. We just started a new collab with the Delaware area food co-ops that Ash has been working on.
Yeah, we oh my god, I can't remember the acronym.
We'll share the
we have a t-shirt.
Yeah, we made a t-shirt together that
been...
says cooperation, not corporation on the front, and then it has all our logos on the back. We got a little website together to help direct people to all the area co-ops. This was, in partnership with Weaver's Way, Mariposa, and the other area co-ops.
We're trying to work together more just as like a network of co-ops in the area to support different common goals. We funded the Fringe Fest in this area, and also we're looking into like Pride and stuff like that, because I love being a co-op, having the co-op be present in the community.
Yeah. So not just inviting people into the co-op, but like actually actively showing up and being a part of the community. And that's one way that we identified within the last year that we could be more active in the broader Philly community by working together a little bit more closely with the other co-ops.
We can accomplish more together.
So that's exciting.
It's extremely exciting. And I need one of those t-shirts, darn it. That sounds awesome. And I just want to point out, I know there's some startups listening. Oh, that's amazing. I will say it is very rare to see a co-op alliance that is smaller than in the entire state. They're usually regions. There's a couple statewide ones. But when you're in as dense an area as a population area as Philadelphia, with as many food co-ops as there is in that region, you also can see this like in Minneapolis, and some other areas. Then there's possibilities. But even if you're in an area that's not as food co-op dense as that, there are absolutely flourishing food co-op associations, the national, regional, and state levels as well. So if you're like, is there one in my area? You can, of course, you can internet search or reach out, and we would be happy to help you at FCI and let you know about what's out there. All right, well, let's talk about the cooperative is a vibrant community hub where all feel welcome. I feel like you've already made this argument so well, but you guys do even more. So tell me about this. What do you guys do, Lori, in the way of all these wonderful events and ways that you are more than a grocery store?
Well, we talked a lot about going out to the community events, and we talked about hosting our own events here at the store, or in the community connected with the store, like the yoga that we do.
We did the yoga. We do regular plant swaps, things like that are smaller. We've done like a little coffee pop-up here and there. But really what I want to talk about is Harvest Jawn. Harvest Jawn is our ginormous little street fair. I say ginormous and little simultaneously.
I was like, you just combined some really interesting words.
I know.
That's what we are.
But
we are small.
We are a little store, and we pack a lot in here, and we pack a lot onto our little street of Juniper for Harvest Jawn. Our first year, we had about 1,000 people visit our store, and how many more outside our store, I do not know. But we had like 30 vendors, a food truck, bounce house, entertainment, and it was glorious. It was a warm ray of sunshine on our community. And after that, our sales just kept going up. So many people who didn't know we existed learned we existed. And we did it again this year, and it was even bigger, even better. We had goats, which is my dream.
Goats.
Goats in the street.
Project is like a big thing here.
We love goats.
But this has become like a neighborhood tradition, and people get excited to hear about it happening again. It's something our board talks about all the time. It's like, oh wait, can we do another Harvest Jawn? Can we do 2 Harvest Jawns?
And Ash says, we're going to develop a volunteer program that is run by the board.
Yeah, and the Harvest Jawn is a really great example of how investing in your community. So this was a way for us to celebrate our community and also welcome our community to the co-op. So just spilling out into the street, right? In all the amazing ways that we can. And then to see, it's a little bit scary to invest the resources into having a really big event like this, because it had, there was a budget
for Jean Marco.
And and then just to see that we broke even on the event, but then better than that, the people, the people kept coming and they kept returning, and we got so many folks invested in a deeper level because they got to have that social experience in a really cool way.
Not to mention the people who just become members based on those experiences of even the small things like having a plant swap or something. Like people will be like, oh, you gave me like a plant propagation that was harvested by my neighbor, and now I'm going to join as a member. I love this place, and I love hearing those stories and hearing them again and again. It means so much to me.
One thing I love about looking at this is, of course, neighborhoods and community cities have street festivals, but I think what is so, I think you experience just looking at these photos, much less being there, is that everyone on this street is a locally owned business. This is actually this is like a community, like we're just closing the street and having a little street fair for us. This isn't like one of those big corporate parades or something like that.
We got sponsorships from some local businesses and our vendors and such, but like it's all local, and it's all local artists that like I kind of handpick a little bit from people who apply. But I think the most gorgeous thing was our floral vendor donated sunflowers to us, and we just filled the street with them. It was magical.
Wow. It was magical.
It was, the whole experience is just warm and fuzzy all over.
And this is a story we've been hearing throughout this series, is how people come to realize the co-op is really here to serve as a hub of the community and to serve the community. And they just are offering ways to help. Like from like, let us bring the flowers, or like, let us help you get a grant to do solar because we want to see more solar in the community with our organization. People start to realize if we bring resources to the co-op is going to manifest the vision that we believe in. And that's from nonprofits to, to large organizations, to tiny small businesses, that, you really kind of know that you've become that established food co-op when people are coming to you and saying like, this is the way we'd like to contribute to you giving back, or creating this community center. And you guys clearly have done an amazing job with that. I could not figure out, can you just explain really quick? I'll be really quick and we'll keep moving. Jawn? I've never heard this term.
Jawn. So Jawn is a colloquial Philadelphia term that is just like a noun. It is anything. So like the Jawn is like an event. It's pass me that Jawn. It's a thing. It's a very Philadelphia word for a very Philadelphia
It's another way you guys seriously like embody that our community is not just any other community. And of course, Gritty was there.
That's why we call it that. We were tossing names around for weeks, and I think I suggested that as a joke. Like we were gonna call it like the Harvest Shindig, or like I don't know, but I said that
everybody loved it. And
that was it. And that's what we call it. We put it on tote bags and stickers. People love it.
That is really cool.
It's a Philly thing.
It's a Philly thing.
It's a Philly thing.
But that's part of what a food co-op does, I think, so much is no matter what city you're in, what town you're in, what state you're in, it's creating a sense of place that we're all losing. And we're saying like, no, this is our place. Right. And so I just love that you guys, I didn't know I should have known that was a Philly thing. I saw the Gritty photo. I'm like, okay, I'm not totally clueless. I know that's Gritty, but
yeah, Gritty was there,
Yeah, Gritty.
Dreams really do come true.
I want to make sure I get through all the things you guys were hoping to share. So let's talk about, you guys do owner appreciation days and a lot of work to support local art. And I love these bags. And I wanted to make sure you had a chance to touch on that.
So we actually have an owner appreciation day tomorrow. I'm very excited about it.
And yet you're here. We're so grateful.
I know. One of my favorite local artists who sells some cards here is going to be setting up a little mini pop-up shop. They're called G and Riz. So they're setting up a little shop like mini pop-up in our store. We're going to have some other vendors come and do free samples, which we always have. It's going to be a great day. I always make sure that our owner appreciation days are inviting to everyone in our community, that it's a fun day for all, and it inspires people to join and become members that day. Like they have like a good experience and they're like, oh, I should be a member. And it's really great to see it happen. We do art shows on our walls above our produce department. So we've had everything from like a pottery person to local like poetry collaboration zines and stuff like that. We've done staff art shows. Yeah, it's a
And I
great,
really wanted to
like,
point out those art shows because I think a lot of startups are like, we want to have, I mean, of course we do. We want to have this teaching kitchen, and then within like the teaching classroom, we'll also have like this art
having
gallery.
a space for that though.
And you're like, but you know what? We don't even have the space to do that, but we are throwing art shows. Like we are
Yeah,
We
like
do it. Yeah.
well,
we
love
use
the
this
produce, damn it. We will still be a center of art. You don't have to be a big store to be supporting the arts in a way that's really powerful,
yeah.
which is what you guys are
I'm
showing.
always inviting anyone who wants to just like come do a pop-up, come hang out. Just to further along that though, so our staff, every season we have a staff designed tote. Do I have one behind me? I don't have one behind
That's
me.
I wanted the story about the totes because they're so cool.
Um, so we started doing these as part of an equity drive, and then we had someone else design a tote because we needed a pride tote. This is our 5th anniversary tote that's coming out soon.
Nice.
It is a tree that's blossoming all types of groceries in the winter, because that is what we are. We are surviving through the winter. um, yeah, and so what we do is we generally do like a $5 donation with a tote that the staff member gets to choose what it goes to, which has been really sweet. We've done like different food pantries. I did what was it was like a trans youth fund. It's just really cool to like be able to contribute art to the community that people love, that people collect, and like show pride in my store like that, and see like my other like staff members like doing this too.
What I love, what you want to pause and point out to startups who are on these calls or stores that are maybe in positions where they're struggling, and none of what we've outlined here, it does take human capital. I'm just not lie about that. Like there is a cost to do these things, but there are no giant financial outlays to most everything except for that John maybe that you guys have outlined here. Like these things are things like food co-ops can do almost right away, um, and do in small stores and do in stores that haven't yet maybe even financially found their feet completely. There's some of these things can right away be executed. They're not taking away, they don't have to take away from operations in any sense. Because of course we're focused in on vision. We asked everyone to focus in on vision. But keep in mind that South Philly is a financially stable store. Like they're not just focusing on the fun stuff. They're focusing on the cooperative stuff, which is also making them a strong fiscal grocery store. And I wanted to know if you wanted to share any thoughts on that, Lori, before we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's all part of the beautiful cycle of what we do here. Investing in our community, inviting people to participate, and keeping good on our promise. Our mission, keeping good on our promise. People believe that. And when you can help make it a real tangible way for people to see that you are living your mission, your ends, they want to be a part of that. They want to get involved. They want to support financially the endeavors that we're doing, like the tote bags. They want to buy them. They're collector's items.
They ask when the next one's
yeah,
coming
they
out.
do. They really do. They want to donate more through our roundup program. They want to be involved, and then they want to shop at the co-op because it's different. It's different. It's better. We're
special.
making a difference. We're special. And that is all part of like what makes us successful, is that it's not just about money. And we are focused on making sure that we hit our margin targets and that we're running good business, but at the same time we're really connecting in a real authentic way with our community. and it gets people excited. So, the co-op has taken on a real life of its own. Like, lately I've been noticing that there are things that I used to have to put all my energy into making happen, or dot the I's, across the T's. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, that I used to have to do those touches on, because they were just, a little bit outside of everybody's wheelhouse. And now, there are certain things that just have taken on a full life of their own, like the tote bags. It's like,
Mhm.
for Ash, like the first time it was more work,
Yeah.
but then, now it's like people wanted to do the tote bags, and then they design the tote bags, and they turn the tote bag design in on time, and like the whole thing happens. And it's just glorious to see the co-op vibrating at that level where, we have that synergy and that energy
Mhm.
to, we are the community, and the community is us. And we just keep doing, the good stuff, like even when it's hard. And
And sometimes
that,
it is hard, right? Like, this isn't an easy
yeah,
business. In no
yeah,
way. Believe me, Lori is staying up nights looking at her margins and her staff budget. I like absolutely know it because this is a tough business. But it leads me what you're saying to a final question I want to have time for, which is, what we really wanted to talk about, and you guys have illustrated so beautifully, is that once a food co-op is born, no matter how hard it is, and even when it's not going perfectly, and even when we're struggling and we're staying awake night worrying about margins or cash flow, we are changing communities or touching lives. Like, things will never be the same. Your community has been transformed. And I wonder if either one of you would be, or both of you would be interested in sharing a brief thought on just one way you've seen the co-op touch, change your community or a person's life, an interaction that really has meant something to you personally.
Oh gosh, I have 1,000 beautiful little memories of this place that make me feel so connected and happy with my neighborhood. From just going to the salon and an old woman stopping me going, "Where do I know you from? Oh, you got me my pie on Thanksgiving. Can I order more of those pies?" And she's like the sweetest lady with the thickest South Philly accent that I can't imitate. Um, to every time someone compliments my fancy gloves and I go, "Oh, I got them at the local co-op. You should shop there." That, like, I don't know, just this place is magical to me. From the first time I came in here to shop, I was just like wowed, and now I'm like a core part of it who has helped it grow, and that just means a lot to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Ash. That's gorgeous.
I could yap about co-op
yeah,
forever. I love this place. I'm
yeah.
I
sorry.
know,
I
and
mean,
you did a very good job of keeping it to one thought. I was really impressed.
I
uh,
co-op love thoughts.
it's I think it's the little and big things. It's watching kids grow up in the co-op,
Mm,
and that's just really sweet and special to me to see them have that connection, with our community. And then, things like just helping a customer shop, when you have a customer that cannot see and needs help navigating the store, just know that we're that place, for those customers, to make that difference and go that, it's not an extra mile for us, but it is
mhm.
probably an extra mile for other grocery stores. And to see the appreciation and to feel that, connection directly with our customers, like even as we're growing, 2,500 member owners, it's hard getting to a place where it's hard to know everyone, but we still maintain, a really deep connection with the individuals that are in here, especially the regulars. And to see a whole new generation of co-op staff,
Mhm.
to really, get what we're doing here, and to feel passionate about it. Like, that's one of the things I love to do is, to see our staff develop and to see them take pride in what we're doing here and how it makes a difference, and to think of ways that they can be involved, in the co-op. So just so many little and big ways.
Thank you guys so much for sharing both personally and in depth about the story of South Philly. And as they said, they have owner appreciation days tomorrow. They've probably both already worked a full day. And they're here with us to make sure that their story continues and that startups know what a difference they're making in the world, even when it's hard and even when it doesn't actually necessarily all pencil out financially when we first open. We saw that with Green Top Grocery, South Philly's hints that it isn't necessarily all roses when we open our stores, but the fight and what we accomplish because we fight to stay here and stay in this difficult industry is amazing. So I want to thank South Philly
Find it
again for
definitely worth
being a
it.
big
It's
part
worth
of
it.
this. I know you've been an inspiration to many startups. And I just real quickly want to mention this was funded completely, this was completely sponsored this series by our Full Circle co-ops. And that means those are established food co-ops. Yay, South Philly is one now too. Open established food co-ops that are passing it forward and are funding FCI so we can do things like this and make sure the startup food co-op movement keeps moving forward. And so thank you to all of these now 49 co-ops. We're trying to get to 60 by the end of the year who have made what's happening right now, have made this series possible. And if you haven't met FCI before, if this is your first time meeting us, hello. We are a tiny little nonprofit that helps people start new cooperative grocery stores all over the country. We have many programs, and almost all of them are free, including what you're experiencing here. And please reach out if we can be of assistance to you. Thank you, everyone, for being here.